This is my third attempt to record this video because of insane heatwave here in Europe right now, and all of my tech just kept overheating, but I'm still here. A bit of schedule, but anyway. There's an idea that Carl Jung kept coming back to, that real individuation, becoming a fully separate person, can't happen while you're still living inside someone else's demands. Guys, for whatever reason, the sound got recorded on internal MacBook microphone, so the quality in this video is not gonna be as high. I'm sorry for that. What he meant here was mostly psychological. There are simple things like expectations of your parents or your partner, the role you were handed as a kid, and the version of you that keeps everyone around you comfortable. But I want you to hold on, because there is a much simpler version of it that we all face in our day-to-day life. This is a version where demand isn't emotional, and it is as simple as just whoever pays for your food, or rent or whatever other expenses you may have is the boss. And all of us went through this stage of life at some point, right? So today we're gonna dive a bit deeper into it and explore why that dependency shapes you more than you would think, and whether the person you become under it is ever really separate from the person you would have been without it. I'm Michael, and this is where we sit and talk. You see, you can spend years building what feels like a clean, solid inner world. You read, you think, you write, you actually work on yourself. And eventually you get to the place where you feel like you understand what matters and what doesn't have any weight in your life. And then someone who is financially responsible for you says one sentence, and you watch yourself soften instantly. And it is not because they convinced you of anything, but because some quieter part of your brain already knows the actual math of the situation, that your comfort, maybe even your roof, your home, runs through them and dependent on them. And I don't think that makes anyone weak, to be honest. I think it is just accurate, let's be honest. It's the mind going what it was built to do, which is what? Protecting the thing that keeps you alive, before it protects the thing that makes you feel like yourself. But it does mean something uncomfortable. That all that inner work, the philosophy you found and relate to, the discipline, the sense of who you are, it is kind of sitting on a foundation that isn't fully yours yet. It is basically sitting on a borrowed ground. And I think you understand that borrowed grounds can be asked to back, right? And I think this is why people who are financially dependent, even really thoughtful, self-aware people, still, end up sending themselves down around whoever's supporting them. They tend to agree faster, argue less, and it is important to acknowledge that it isn't because they have lost their convictions, but because those convictions are just expensive to hold on to, when holding on to them might cost you something that you actually need. I'm recording this really fast because my phone is gonna overheat in a minute. And what gets me is that this doesn't really announce itself ever. Nobody sits you down and taps you on the shoulder, says be smaller today. It's more like a pull that only shows up right when it matters, the moment you would normally push back. Some other part of you that calculates the risk first, and by the time you have noticed, you have already chosen the smaller version of yourself, basically. And what I noticed is that people love the obvious fix, which is things like get independent, make your own money, and you're gonna be good. But that's just the easy version of the answer. The real one is, let's be honest, less comfortable. The shape you took while depending on someone doesn't just leave once. The dependency does. It stays for quite a long time. Anyway, if any of this sounds familiar, you are not less solid than you think. You're just, standing on the ground that isn't fully yours yet. Worth remembering. This is a really short video today because my phone is literally like 100 degrees right now, and I hope it doesn't explode to my face. See you.